Welcome back to Book It. We are back right on track with another Maze Runner. We are finally on the third, which is the Death Cure for Maze Runner Week. And I have to say, after the last video of the Scorch Trials, it's really hard to get back and like read the next book. But we're back on track. And I personally don't understand how we go from such trash to this. Beautiful. So this is the third book in the series. There are 3 more after this, which is the Kill Order, the Fever Code, and the Crank Palace. Crank Palace is a novella, Fever Code, and Kill Order take place before. So this is the last book of like the series, because the Crank Palace takes place during this time. So like this is the final book of the series, but it's the third book that was published. Yeah, okay. So we are going to jump right on in. So we immediately learn that not everyone's immune from the flare, and that Newt, my baby, my boy, is one of the unlucky ones, unfortunately. They also get to choose if they want all of like their memories back, because before they went into the maze, they kind of had this thing called the swipe where all of their memories were removed, but they can get them all back if they want. Mino, Thomas, and Newt decide they do not want their memories back. They were given a choice, but they decided to not do it. And then the Rat Man comes back and says, oh, well, you can't choose that. So Brenda is the only person from the past book that actually tries to like help the boys fight and escape. Like nobody else helps them, like none of the staff, no, like nobody, just her. And then Jorge. But Teresa still sucks. That's what my notes say. She still sucks. So the boys fully escape and are now out in like the real world, and they realize that Teresa has also taken other people from the group and she's breaking them out as well. So while they're breaking out, Teresa's also breaking out. So they're like, oh my God, she's on our side. Brenda and Thomas have this moment where they kiss and kind of like realize that they like each other. But to be honest, I like this pairing so much more than like him with Teresa or anybody. And I feel like that's kind of like why the movies were not, because like in the movies it made it like Teresa and Thomas. Like, no. Brenda, baby, Brenda. She's just such a badass, and like Teresa sucks. So they finally find people who are like alive and not sick, and they also find out that Gally is still alive from way back then. Everyone thought he died in the first book. He's still alive. He was taken after Wicked. He was taken away like by Wicked after he shot Chuck in the first book. So he's actually like leading like this rebellion group. They find the people in the society. They learn that all the people are against Wicked because Wicked is actually bad. And that they are a community trying to survive, yet they know very little about the flare, how to kill it, because it's an airborne disease that affects people rapidly. So basically the entire time when Wicked's like, we're so good, we're so good, we're so good. No, everyone else hates them. So after a few days, they get a note from Newt saying that he's gone, he's taken away because he's infected. And he is not one of the people that are immune like the rest of them. He doesn't want to get anybody else sick. So then this would be like a break. And then the whole story of the Crank Palace happens while like Newt's like, I gotta go. I'm bye. Like, mwah. So the boys immediately jump into action and they go to the Crank Palace to get him back. And this is where they see where all the cranks go and where they're infected. And they try to keep people away. Like it's not safe to be around there. Of course, the job is to rescue him, but some guy walks up and tells them to get lost, because that's what Newt told them to do. And in the Crank Palace, we will see like Newt be like, go tell them to leave, like tell them to get out of here, which is so sad because my baby boy just needs to be back home with his friends. They end up seeing him and he has a breakdown telling them that he is a crank and they need to leave because he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And he doesn't want to be around them anymore, so please go away, because he can't have his friends stand around and watch him slip into madness. It makes him extremely upset because he wants to be with his friends. And then Tommy's really upset, and they finally decide to leave because he refuses to go anywhere with them, and they know it's unsafe for them to still stay in the area. So he ends up leaving, or they all end up leaving, and Newt goes back to whatever he was doing, which we will learn exactly what he's doing in the Crank Palace. So thank you, James Dashner, for writing that book. Once they get back to their camp, they realize they should have done more to like try and find, they should have done more because they find a note from Newt that says they should kill him for his own good. He doesn't want to slip into this insanity, and Thomas feels like he's failed his friends because he did not kill him when they went to the Crank Palace. When he's there, they, Newt, like, kind of gives him a note, and he leaves, and he doesn't read it until he gets home, and he realizes, like, Newt was like, please kill me. Like, please, I don't want to be this person. So he feels like he's failed him, which is so sad. Teresa comes back and talks to Thomas and says that she feels like she was abandoned and that they left her, and that's so not true. So Thomas argues with her, and then a few pages later we realize that the Cranks have broken in and they're starting to kill everybody, and this is when people jump into action, and the right arm starts doing what they do best, which is killing Cranks even though they don't want to. So the right arm is the group that Gally is a part of, the like rebellion group. Basically they kill all the Cranks whenever they are like being attacked. They don't like killing Cranks because they understand that they're still people. Like Wicked just like kind of dismisses them, but it's fine. Thomas learns that the right arm is gathering up all the immune people to mimic people that are in Wicked to try to break into their headquarters, which is a plan. So he gets on board so they can actually shut Wicked down once and for all. But it's really hard to do because it's such a big corporation. They have so many people that work there, so there's only for them. So it's only one way is to mimic and impersonate Wicked's soldiers. So this plan starts with Thomas pretending to come back and like he wants to finish the trials. So they're going to wait a while before they start sending other people in because they don't want to have security with Thomas. But in reality, he's going to use them to get them all stopped. The one issue they end up having is before they get into Wicked, he sees Newt on the side of the road. And Newt does not look like his normal self because he has been taken over by the flare. And the Cranks, and when he gets to Thomas is trying to talk to him, but he doesn't really want to talk back. Telling him to leave. He finally tells him to leave. Please kill him and put him out of his misery. This is the worst scene in the entire book. This is the worst scene in the entire franchise. This is the most heartbreaking thing because I cry. But Newt literally looks at Thomas and is like, please, for love of God, like, please just kill me. Because Newt knows that when he goes, like, when he fully loses it, he's going to try to kill his friends, and he doesn't want to do that. So Thomas ends up pulling the trigger, killing his best friend, and I am dead inside. It's the saddest scene. Absolute saddest. Oh my God, this is so long. Okay, Thomas gets back to Wicked and finds the final thing they need to do to take his brain, which would ultimately kill him, is that's what they're going to do to like solve the flares. They're going to take out Thomas's brain. Yeah, that's a great idea, and he'll die. So the only way for him to fully solve the issue of the flare, that's what they believe. When he wakes up, there's a letter from the Chancellor saying that she's gone ahead and ordered a flat trans for them to be transported to a new life, and he needs to take everybody and leave. And this is when he realized that Wicked has a hidden... realizes that Wicked has hidden everyone that was like immune in the maze to try for people left in the world for the diseases taken over, which brings back into question, is Wicked good? So basically the Chancellor's like, there's a flat trans, and once you step through, it's like a whole different world basically, where everyone who does not have the flare and is actually immune has been sent to basically just live their life, to start over, start anew, be with, those that won't get them sick with no worry of them actually like, dying. So he tells everybody that they go back into the maze, and everyone is like, what the hell? But they end up going, and they enter in the maze in such a weird thing for them to do, but it like makes sense. When they get back to the maze, they realize this is where all... What? Okay, when they get back to the maze, they realize all their friends are here. Like, everyone who was immune has been put in this maze. And they all begin hiding. This is where they were hidden, and everyone is really shocked to see Gally and the fact that he's alive. But like, he's a good guy now, so everyone's happy. Frypan's there, and a lot of other people in the group that like we all knew from the beginning. And they're all trying to be put together, and they finally have some issues with the right arm. They realize the right arm is like trying to actually kill them all, which is kind of confusing, but they end up running full force, and they get to the cliff, and this is where they decide to like keep going. And is when they fight Grievers the middle arms way and do all the things that like they did before, but a little bit better because they have 200 people make it out at the end. So the book ends with Thomas and Brenda looking out over a new life they've created from the flare with a bunch of immune people. While the group has gotten really small and they've lost a lot, there's also a positive way that they're very hopeful and they're like together at the end. So that sounded really confusing when I explained it, but like basically they go back into the maze, hanging with the boys. They realize that the right arm is like trying to pew 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 them, so they end up running to the cliff where they, in the first book, they ran to the cliff, they jumped down, they fought all the Grievers, and they like got out through the hole. Same thing, except this time they had like weapons. Like the first time they were fighting with like sticks and stuff. This time they had like actual like machine guns. Like they were fighting. And then when they stepped through, it didn't take them to Wicked. It took them to like a new life. So it's very cute. The movie, I will say this, the movie changed this ending and it really did upset a lot of people, and I totally understand that. It's nothing like the movie. The movie basically, they like step into a flat trans, they go to a whole new world. And this, they step into a flat trans, they go back to the maze to get to the new world. They just kind of took that part out. But this is honestly probably the second best book in the series. The part where Newt tells him to kill him is so sad. I literally have it like, I'm pretty sure it's marked with my light purple one, which means like my heart, because it makes me so sad. Maybe not. Okay. No, it is. It's marked with the kill me. It's, oh god, it's so sad. And then my future husband, Thomas Brody Sangster, he played it so well. He was like, oh my god, okay. Can't talk about it. Makes me sad. But yeah, that's the Death Cure, the third book in our 6-book series that we're doing this week. Super excited that we're done with it. Overall, I gave this book a 4 out of 5. So it's definitely not a 5 out of 5 book, just because, you know, there are some parts that I get a little bored at, but it is definitely nothing like The Scorched Trials. It was a 2 out of 5 because I cannot stand that book. But no, this book, 4 out of 5. I like it a lot. I recommend this. I always tell people if they can get through The Scorched Trials, this book is so much, like, it's worth it. Like, it's worth to get through the second book. But yeah, that's it. So we have the Kill Order, Fever Code, and Crank Palace next. Those are the final 3 books of our little dystopian society week, where we're going to be talking about all the Maze Runners. So these will be posted, like, you know, boom, boom, boom. So if you're seeing this video, that means that the first 2 have already been posted, and that means that tomorrow the Kill Order will be, and then the day after that is Fever Code, and then the day after that is Crank Palace. And I always suggest watching them in order, just because they have, like, they overlap in a sense. Like, they have certain things that, like, not overlap, but like, don't watch this before you do the other ones, because, you know, it's like spoilers and it's ahead of the time. So very excited for that. I think that's it. That's all I have. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps me out so much more than you actually think it does, and you can always undo it anytime. It's completely free. And yeah, make sure you follow my Goodreads. The link is in the bio below. I'm going to actually go ahead and update it right now, so that way you can go ahead and see what I'm reading next. It gives you a little heads up. It also gives you my opinions before I actually talk about them on camera. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!